Adolf Schicklgruber aka Adolf Hitler is one of the well-known and reviled figures in the history of mankind. As the leader of Nazi Germany, he orchestrated both World War II and the Holocaust, events that led to the deaths of at least 40 million people. Hitler was born on April 20, 1889 in Braunau in Austria. After his father, Alois, retired as a state customs official, young Adolf spent most of his childhood in Linz, the capital of Upper Austria. Not wanting to follow in his father's footsteps as a civil servant, he began struggling in secondary school and eventually dropped out. Adolf Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany in 1933 following a series of electoral victories by the Nazi Party. He ruled absolutely until his death by suicide in April 1945. Upon achieving power, Hitler smashed the nation's democratic institutions and transformed Germany into a war state intent on conquering Europe for the benefit of the so-called Aryan race. His invasion of Poland on September 1, 1939, triggered the European phase of World War II. During the course of the war, Nazi military forces rounded up and executed 11 million victims they deemed inferior or undesirable, life unworthy of life, among them Jews, Slavs, homosexuals, and Jehovah's Witnesses. Hitler had supreme authority as Führer, leader or guide, but could not have risen to power or committed such atrocities on his own. He had the active support of the powerful German officer class and of millions of everyday citizens who voted for the National Socialist German Workers' Nazi Party and hailed him as a national savior in gigantic stadium rallies. How were Hitler and the Nazis possible? How did such odious characters take and hold power in a country that was a world pacifier in literature, art, architecture, and science, a nation that had a democratic government and a free press in the 1920s? Hitler rose to power through the Nazi Party, an organization he forged after returning as a wounded veteran from the annihilating trench warfare of World War I. He and other patriotic Germans were outraged and humiliated by the harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles, which the Allies compelled the new German government, the Weimar Republic, to accept along with an obligation to pay $33 billion in war reparations. Germany also had to give up its prized overseas colonies and surrender valued parcels of home territory to France and Poland. The German army was radically downsized, and the nation forbidden to have submarines or an air force. "We shall squeeze the German lemon until the pips squeak," explained one British official. Paying the crushing reparations destabilized the economy, producing ruinous, runaway inflation. By September 1923, 4 billion German marks had the equal value of $1 American. Consumers needed a wheelbarrow to carry enough paper money to buy a loaf of bread. Hitler, a mesmerizing public speaker, addressed political meetings in Munich calling for a new German order to replace what he saw as an incompetent and inefficient democratic regime. This new order was distinguished by an authoritarian political system based on a leadership structure in which authority flowed downward from a supreme national leader. In the new Germany, all citizens would unselfishly serve the state, or Volk. Democracy would be abolished and individual rights sacrificed for the good of the Führer state. The ultimate aim of the Nazi Party was to seize power through Germany's parliamentary system, install Hitler as dictator, and create a community of racially pure Germans loyal to their Führer, who would lead them in a campaign of racial cleansing and world conquest. Hitler's relationship with Eva Braun, which lasted nearly 14 years, was hidden from the public and all but his inner circle.